From a Cybertruck that loses $76,000 in 18 months, to a Model 3 that actually holds up better than most electric cars on the road, the Tesla lineup tells wildly different stories once you actually do the math. We are counting down all 5, from worst money pit to smartest pick. Number 5, the Tesla Model X. This is the most expensive Tesla you can own. Not just to buy, to keep. CarEdge ran the 5-year math on every Tesla in the current lineup. The Model X came in at $108,700 over 5 years. That includes depreciation, insurance, maintenance, financing, and charging. The cheapest Tesla you can buy comes in at $57,000 over the same 5 years. Same brand, same dealer lot, almost double the cost to own. The killer is depreciation. I see. Cars track the Model X at 61% loss over 5 years. On a $90,000 SUV, that is roughly $39,000 in lost value alone. Insurance comes in at about $3,500 per year, the highest of any Tesla on the market. And that is before we even get to the Falcon Wing doors. I had a buddy bring a 2020 Model X into the shop last fall. The driver's side Falcon Wing door stopped closing on its own. He took it to the service center first. The quote came back at $2,400 to replace one hinge sensor. He said no thanks, sourced the part himself, and it still cost him $800 and a weekend in the driveway. And that was just one sensor. One owner on Tesla Motors Club paid over $1,000 for a single small piece of roof glass on those doors. His insurance company actually told him they refuse to keep covering it because Falcon Wing glass breaks too often and costs too much. That is the Model X experience. Beautiful when it works, brutal when it does not. The doors that made this thing famous are the same doors quietly bleeding owners dry every year out of warranty. So if the Model X is bleeding money on depreciation and door repairs, you would think the Model S would be in better shape. Simpler car, fewer party tricks, lower starting price. Somehow the math on the S is even uglier. Number 4 is the Tesla Model S. Same body shape it has had since 2012, the car that built this entire brand, and now the Tesla that holds its value worse than any other in the lineup. IC Cars clocks the Model S at 65.2% depreciation over 5 years. That is the worst percentage in the entire Tesla lineup and one of the worst figures in the whole electric car market. On a plaid trim, that works out to over $52,000 in lost value. The 5-year cost to own per CarEdge lands at $104,500, just under the X, well above everything else. The reason is what I call the cliff. Once a Model S crosses the 8-year battery warranty, the resale falls off a table. Buyers know what is coming. A new battery on these costs $20,000 to $23,000 before tax and labor. The original media control unit can fail from too much data logging, and the out-of-warranty quote on that used to be $4,000 before federal safety regulators forced Tesla to recall it. A guy in Finland made the news a few years back. He was quoted $22,000 to fix a battery error on his Model S. He thought about it for a minute, then drove the car out to a field outside Helsinki, strapped explosives to the roof, put a mannequin wearing an Elon Musk mask in the driver's seat, and detonated the whole thing. The video has over 15 million views. I'm not telling you to blow up your car. I'm telling you the cost of fixing one of these out of warranty got bad enough that a normal owner did the math and decided dynamite was the cheaper option. And Tesla just announced they are discontinuing the Model S. They released a 250-unit Signature Edition Plaid at $159,000, with a $50,000 no resale agreement attached. Tesla is selling you a car and making you sign a paper saying you cannot sell it back. That is what they think of the resale market on these now. So that is the original Tesla on its way out the door. $50,000 in lost value, battery quotes that drove one owner to actual explosives. And the next Tesla on this list is so bad that Tesla slapped a no resale agreement on that one too. Number 3 is the Tesla Cybertruck. Add it all up over 5 years and the truck actually comes in lower than the Model X and the Model S at about $88,000. But on the speed of how fast you lose money, nothing in the Tesla lineup or in any lineup in America right now comes close. A 2024 Foundation Series Cybertruck sold on Cars and Bids last spring for $146,000, 600 miles on the clock. 18 months and 6,000 additional miles later, the same auction site sold the same exact truck for $70,000. That is $76,000 in lost value in a year and a half, on a truck that barely got driven. Business Insider went and pulled actual Tesla trade in offers from current owners. One owner paid $100,000 for a dual-motor Cybertruck. He drove it 19,000 miles. The trade-in offer came back at $63,000. A Cyberbeast owner who paid $127,000 was offered $78,000. Doug DeMuro went on record this year predicting these things will hit $20,000 used within 10 years. A $150,000 truck heading for sub-Camry territory. And the brand is feeling it. Tesla sold 38,000 of these in 2024, then watched that number fall to barely over 20,000 a year later. That is a 48% collapse. The worst one-year drop of any electric vehicle ever sold in this country. Then there is the recall situation. 7 recalls in the first year alone. The accelerator pedal recall covered nearly 4,000 trucks because the pedal pad could pop off and jam the throttle wide open. The official fix was a literal screw through the pedal pad. Then they recalled 46,000 more for stainless trim on the roofline that was flying off the trucks while driving down the highway. I'll give you my real opinion on this one. I don't trust an electric truck that needed a recall just to keep its own parts attached. That is the kind of thing you fix at the factory, not in a service bay. Range disappointment is the cherry on top. Tesla advertised 320 miles. Real-world tests came back at 254. 2 real-world owners over 10,000 miles reported just 206 miles per charge, 35% less range than what was supposed to be Tesla's main truck. So that is the Cybertruck story. Losing value at the speed of light, recalled out of the showroom, and Tesla now slapping $50,000 no resale clauses on these because they know the second owner is going to be holding the bag. Real quick, if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now so the next breakdown lands in your feed. We've got 2 Teslas left, and the rest of this ranking flips what you'd expect. Number 2 is the Tesla Model Y, the best-selling Tesla in America. And on the math, it earns the spot. 5-year cost to own per car edge is $65,100. That is $43,000 less than the Model X and $40,000 less than the Model S. Maintenance is the lowest in the entire lineup at about $1,400 over 5 years. Insurance comes in at $2,500 per year, the second cheapest, behind only the Model 3. The Y is what happens when Tesla finally builds something boring. The Juniper refresh in 2025 quieted down the cabin, cleaned up the interior, and kept the same battery and motor setup that made the previous version a hit. Depreciation is still rough at about 58% over 5 years, but on a $50,000 starting price, that is $40,000 less raw dollar loss than what the Model X is doing. I had a 2022 long range come into the shop back in March, 120,000 miles on the odometer. Original battery still pulling about 89% of its initial capacity. brake pads replaced for the first time. That was the whole repair history. The owner told me his charging cost dropped from about $200 a month in pump gas on his old SUV to around $45 a month plugging in at home. Over 6 years of ownership, that adds up to real money saved. But the why isn't perfect. The Juniper refresh shipped with a wave of early build quality complaints, including paint runs and panel alignment issues on the first batch out of the factory. And the cabin still has that minimalist Tesla layout where every single function lives inside a screen. I personally hate it. If you've ever tried to adjust the air vents on a moving Tesla using the touchscreen, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Funny enough, the next Tesla on this list is almost the same car as the Y under the hood, costs less to own, and I don't think anyone saw this version of the ranking coming a few years ago. Number 1 is the Tesla Model 3, and I'll bet you did not see this one coming. CarEdge has the Model 3 at $57,500 to own over 5 years. Cheapest Tesla, period. I see cars looked at over 800,000 used cars and found that the Model 3 actually holds its value better than the average electric car. Of all the electric vehicles you can buy in America, only the Porsche Taycan and the Hyundai Kona Electric lose less value than the average electric car. The Model 3 is one of them, and the only Tesla on that short list. Insurance is the cheapest in the entire Tesla lineup at about $2,400 a year. Maintenance is the cheapest at about $1,200 over 5 years. That is less than what a typical SUV burns through on oil changes in the same window. Charging cost works out to around $45 a month at home. A comparable Camry burns through that in about 10 days of pump gas. Look, I'll give you my real opinion. I've been skeptical of every Tesla refresh, every promise about full self-driving, and every brand claim Musk has made in the last 6 years. But the base Model 3 is the rare Tesla where the math actually works. A used 2022 long range right now goes for around $20,000 with battery warranty time remaining. That is the play. Let the first owner eat the steep first-year drop. You roll in at year 3 with a car that has 4 years of battery warranty left, low maintenance, and a 5-year ownership cost that comes in below most gas sedans of similar size. The Highland refresh in 2024 did clean up a lot of the early build quality complaints from previous years. The stocks are gone, which I personally think is stupid. Putting your turn signal on a button on the steering wheel does not make a car more advanced. It makes it more annoying. But the frame, the battery, and the motors are all sorted out by now. This is the Tesla I tell every buddy of mine to look at if they're set on going electric. That is the lineup. And the takeaway here is brutal. The fancier the Tesla, the harder you bleed. Cybertruck owners are dropping $76,000 in 18 months. Model S owners are watching $50,000 walk out the door over 5 years. Model X owners are paying the highest insurance bill in the brand. The Tesla that beats most electric cars in America on resale is the cheapest, plainest one in the showroom. Whatever you do, don't buy the car Tesla is excited about. Before you click away, go watch my video on the 5 biggest mistakes used Tesla buyers make when checking battery health. Buyers just look at the dash and trust whatever number it shows. That number is wrong. There is a way to pull the real battery wear numbers straight from the car in about 90 seconds. And if you skip that step, you are the guy who buys a Model S with a hidden $20,000 battery problem the seller already knew about. See you over there.